Villaseñor. I'm the chairman of the MAP Trade and Investments Committee. I will be assigned today to be your MC for this particular session. So on behalf of the MAP Board of Governors and the MAP Trade and Investments Committee, I would like to call this MAP General Membership Meeting to order. Please rise for the invocation, and please remain standing after the invocation for the Philippine National Anthem. Invocation, please. Let us bow our heads in prayer. Lord Almighty, we come before you today with grateful hearts, seeking your guidance and blessing as we discuss the business opportunities in ASEAN. We pray for unity and cooperation among the member countries of ASEAN so they can continuously work together for the common good. Grant all businessmen the ability to seize the right opportunities, making sound decisions that will benefit not only their businesses, but also the communities they serve. Enable the ASEAN region to become a hub of innovation, creativity, and sustainable development. We pray for the well-being and prosperity of all individuals and communities within ASEAN. In your infinite wisdom, we trust that you will hear and answer our prayers. Amen. Please sit down. Before we start the program, I would like to acknowledge our partners for this GMM. Of course, Diamond is sponsored by BDB Law, Gold sponsor by Forecasting and Planning Technologies, Inc. The following silver sponsors: Divina Law, PwC Philippines, San Miguel Corporation, SGB and Company, SMIC, and BDO. Quite a lot. Thanks to all our sponsors. Let's give them a round of applause, please. For the welcome remarks and President's report, may I kindly call on the President of the MAP and founding partner and CEO of the Du Balalad and Associates, or BDB Law. Please welcome our very dynamic Attorney Dick Du Baladad.
Good morning, fellow MAP members and guests. Our distinguished panelists, who will be introduced later, our distinguished guests from the government, the diplomatic community, the business community, the academe, the media, fellow MAP members, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Board of Governors, and the now almost 1,200 members of MAP, I would like to welcome all of you to this MAP General Membership Meeting. So it's now July. We have like 5 months more. Let me thank our panelists, Ambassador Castellino of Malaysia, Ambassador Sin Yuan of Singapore, Ambassador Tul Trisurat of Thailand, Minister Mudzakir of Indonesia, and Mr. Van Tan of Vietnam for being with us today. And today's GMM features a panel discussion on business opportunities in the ASEAN. This is the second of MAP's Investment Forum series, which is aimed at increasing the awareness of the many business opportunities within the region and to understand the practices as well as the expectations when one expands outbound to the regional borders. The third component of our investment series would be on Tourism Investment Forum, which will be held on October. This will be done in collaboration with the Tourism Infrastructure and Enterprise Zone Authority, or TIEZA. So at this point, let me give an update of our flagship projects. And I start, as always, with our biggest project, which is CAMAX. We call it CAMAX for Campaign Against Malnutrition and Child Stunting. Last June 19, we released an MAP statement which came out in full page in the Philippine Daily Inquirer and Philippine Star, urging the government to declare malnutrition and child stunting as top national agenda, and for the government to adopt concrete measures, devote sufficient resources and funding, and cascade programs and responsibilities from the national to the local levels of government. This call to action statement increased public awareness about this problem of malnutrition and child stunting by a mile. It ignited the interest not only of our members, but many corporate foundations and NGOs who reached out to us wanting to join the campaign. Now, with an almost 50 organizations, we have formed a coalition. It is called the CAMAX Coalition. It is a campaign against malnutrition and child stunting. It is not a formally registered coalition. We do not need that. What we need is a working coalition, one that can work at full speed right away, free from the delays and red tapes and internal politics we usually find in registered organizations. What is important is that we are bound by a common goal, and we move as one, in harmony with the others, towards one direction. And that is to eradicate malnutrition and child stunting the soonest time possible. Within the group are those already heavily involved in the same or aligned causes, such as malnutrition and hunger projects, the health and sanitation, food supply, agriculture, aquaculture, clean water, the data analytics group, and of course, the most important, the funders. So that CAMAX coalition is composed of this group. The coalition operates by supplementation and complementation. Let me reiterate that MAP's advocacy campaign is not meant to take over or duplicate the many worthy efforts that had already been done or are being undertaken or will be undertaken in the future. We have agreed that we do what each is good at and is already doing. We just have to know what each one is doing so that there is complementation in all we do. Our goal is to align all these initiatives so that we all move in concert and collectively help eradicate malnutrition and child stunting. The magnitude of this problem is too wide and deep-rooted that it will require the whole of society mobilized to achieve that desired outcome. In the planning meeting of the team engaged last June 27, the coalition was grouped into three. The first group are those doing direct services. The second group are the funders. And the third group are those doing support services. So you may ask, what is MAP's role? We have already identified MAP's role. We will be in the third group providing support services, providing management, administration, reporting, and coordination support to CAMAX. Others call us conveners. The idea is for participating organizations to continue with the current activities. We just have to know, as I said, what each is doing so that there is complementation in all we do. On the government side, we have received several requests for meetings from government officials to identify areas of collaboration. One of them is Representative Michael Romero, the chair of the Committee on Poverty Alleviation of the House of Representatives, who we will be meeting in the last week of July. Meetings scheduled this month are likewise set with the Secretary of DSWD, Secretary Rex Gatchalian, and Secretary of the DOH, Secretary Ted Herbosa. Likewise, we are also working on an MOU with the Philippine National Police to help in the implementation and dissemination of educational materials at the local level, participate in on-ground implementation, and to provide safety and security to the members of CAMAX. At this point, I would like to thank our partners for trusting MAP to walk with you in this noble undertaking until we achieve our goals. Special thanks to Karen Batumbakal for heading the Engage team, Dr. Shell Habito for heading the Encourage team, and another big special thanks to Ms. Alma Jimenez for being our advisor for CAMAX and for the other special projects of MAP. Can I have a round of applause, please? Now, we are into a new flagship project. As a result of the BD Below MAP breakfast dialogue with Senator Win Gatchalian, we learned about the deficiencies we are facing in our education system, especially on the K-12 and TVET, Technical Vocational Educational Training programs, where there is much that the business sector can do. In a call to action statement we released the other day, Monday, we stressed, among others, that there is a need to streamline the implementation of the K-12 system so that it can fully integrate as a TVET program to increase enterprise-based learning where the senior high school students will have more immersive experiences through certification training and exposure to actual work settings. In a data that was released or shown by Senator Win Gatchalian, only 4% of TVET and K-12 graduates are picked up by enterprises. The rest are for community services. And these are those that are in the low end, like masahista, nagkukulot, manicurista, etc. A system for micro-credentialing should be created in such a way that a national certification program will qualify a student for better job opportunities and higher wages. Surely, there are many among our ranks who are capable to extend the help on this. Then we have the third project, which is the Blueprint for Shared Prosperity. On August 30, we will hold the MAP Shared Prosperity Summit, which intends to bring together the decision makers in government, the business leaders, the academe, the NGOs, and other interest groups to collaborate and collectively produce a blueprint for shared prosperity. aligned with our campaign against malnutrition and child stunting and our campaign to help ease education crisis. The plan is to create a 5-year blueprint for shared prosperity that will contain a roadmap of commitments on how businesses can help uplift the poor out of poverty as manifested in their dealings towards their employees, customers, suppliers, communities where they operate, and the environment and other stakeholders. The World Bank is MAP's main partner here and in the summit and in the development or crafting of the blueprint for shared prosperity. So as you can see, our flagship projects, the campaign against malnutrition, the education crisis, and the shared prosperity are all linked into one whole loop that is related or that is directed towards one direction, which is a progressive future, which is the theme of MAP this year. In relation to shared prosperity, we are now conducting a survey which is conducted by MAP Pricewaterhouse. And the survey aims to generate the thoughts of MAP members as regards shared prosperity. The results of the survey will serve as initial inputs to the blueprint. And therefore, may I ask everyone, if you have not done so, to please respond to the survey not later than July 31. So that completes my report on the flagship projects. May I now give you a rundown of committee activities that are ongoing. Our committees suddenly are so active, and all of them have projects that is keeping the board on their toes always. So we have the third SGV MAP Next Generation CEO Transformative Leadership Program, and that is geared towards helping high-energy, high-performing young and future CEOs reframe the future of their companies, and it had already its kick-off last June 27. Thank you to SGV. Congratulations to the 13 selected members of Batch 2023. May I ask the participating Next-Gen members to stand and be recognized if you are here. Their names are on the screen. We have also made significant progress now for the BDB Law MAP Breakfast Dialogues, which is meant as a support to flagship projects and MAP advocacies. This is a series of monthly closed-door meeting of government officials and MAP leaders and members to discuss burning issues of the day, explore areas of cooperation, and be enlightened on game-changing policy directions. On June 20, we had our first dialogue, as I said, with Senator Win Gatchalian, the co-chair of EDCOM 2. Our second dialogue was on June 26 with Secretary Ernie Perez of ARTA. On June 25, we will have a dialogue with BIR Commissioner Lumagi. For August, we are organizing dialogues with DICT Secretary Ivan Uy, Energy Secretary Popo Lotilia, and the National Nutrition Council Executive Director, Dr. Dayang Hirang. Another project is a project of the Tech Startup Committee headed by Aldi Garcia. It's the Scale Up program. So on July 3, we have already conducted the fireside chat with the 15 startup participants of the Scale program. This program aims to prepare startups to scale and grow big by providing them with important knowledge on governance, leadership, business evaluation, deal processes, among others. The fireside chat featured top executives of leading private equity firms and venture capital funds who shared their insights on what they typically look for in a startup, the lessons that can be learned from failed startups, the challenges and opportunities facing entrepreneurs, as well as their experiences in scaling businesses. The SCALE program is a project of MAP with DTI, Foxmont, Kubo, and Price Waterhouse. Another project is the project of the Education Committee headed by Poch Macaranas, and this will be on July 27 to 28 in Iloilo City. It is called Management Educators Workshop. The MEW aims to meet the 21st century changing business needs with innovative academic industry linkages, to foster long-term development of curriculum content and management across disciplines with new strategic concepts. And the next one is the CEO conference. This is actually our biggest conference every year. It's the International CEO Conference, which is a project of the CEO Conference Committee headed by Alma Jimenez. So if you have not done yet, please sign up for the September 12 MAP International CEO Conference with the theme on a cohesion course, leading in the age of unlimited possibilities. Among the confirmed speakers are the ASEAN Secretary General, His Excellency Dr. Kao Kim Horn, and Price Waterhouse Chairman for Asia Pacific and China, Mr. Raymond Chow. And then there is this arts and culture activity headed by Attorney Lorna Kapunan. And it is called Love the Philippine Museums. There. Love the Philippine Museums. So on August 5 is a tour of the National Museum. On August 12 is tour of Museo Pambata. And August 19 is a tour of Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel exhibit at Estancia Mall in Pasig. In September and October, we will also have a formal sit-down dinner concert entitled Gems from Broadway and the Classics, organized by our impresario, Eddie Yap. And the beneficiary of this concert would be the Coalition on CAMAX, the Malnutrition Project. On August 1, we also have the ICT Summit headed by Helen Makasaet. And this will be called Cyber Security Trends. This forum will delve into the latest challenges and solutions pertaining to cyber security. Okay, now at this point, that ends the report on the committee activities, but we are now open to accepting nominations for the 2024-2025 MAP governors. By this time, you should have already received a letter from the NOMELEC Chair, Malu Cristobal. Please respond not later than July 14. And we are now also open for accepting nominations for the MAP Management Person of the Year 2023. Again, please submit your nominations not later than August 18. Just to show you the major activities for the year, the remaining, please participate in these activities. That completes my report. Please monitor your Viber and email inboxes, the MAP website, the MAP memo, our weekly electronic newsletters for further developments about our major programs and forthcoming activities. With that, thank you very much.
If there is such thing as revenge travel, there's also such thing as revenge activities of MAP. As you can see, we have a very vibrant association here, led by very dynamic board of directors, president, and more particularly, they get everybody contributing, to all of these activities. Before I move on to the next part and special part of the program, I have a special reminder. Probably you're actually noticing there are a few sheets of papers being distributed. In cooperation with PwC, we normally have this annual MAP 2023 annual CEO survey. This is actually being utilized especially during the MAP conference, where we actually, together with PwC, deliver the results of the survey, which normally only takes around 10 minutes. So if you have the time, please feel free to assist on this. And there's also an online system that is actually waiting for you outside. I think there's also a link that can actually be given to you in a short while. So thank you for the cooperation on this. Again, thank you, Madam President Dick. So at this point, for the presentation of the new MAP members for induction, I would like to kindly call on the Vice Chair of the MAP Membership Committee, who is also Chair of the Far Eastern University, or FEU, and of course, past President, no other than Mr. Gigi Montinola.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If you just heard an exhaustive report by our President, Dick Dubaladad, we will also have one of the largest number of people to get inducted into the MAP today. So I'm pleased to announce that we are inducting 21 new members that will increase MAP's total membership from 1150 to 1171. May I read the names of the inductees, and as your name is called, please stand up and walk to the stage. The first one is Miss Ella Antonio. She is the President and CEO of Brain Trust, Inc. Line of business is development of consultancy services. Her sponsors are Dr. Shiel Habito and Dr. Corazon Claudio. Next, we have Mr. Joaquin Jack Arambulo. He's an IT BPO consultant of InfoPro Business Solutions, Inc. And he's the former CEO and president of Point West. Line of business is information technology. Sponsors are Mr. John Clifford Ayala and Mr. Wilson Tan. Third, we have attorney Brando C. Cabals. He's the infrastructure leader of Cabrera and Company. His line of business is legal services. His sponsors are attorney Alexander Cabrera and Mr. Aldi P. Garcia. And it's his birthday today. Okay. Fourth, we have Ms. Rhoda Castro Caliwara, President and CEO of Executive Genesis Services, Inc. The line of business is service contracting. The sponsors are Ms. Maria Eileen Abiva and Secretary Rogelio Singson. Fifth, we have Mr. Salvador Antonio Aboy Castro, Jr. He's the founder and the president and the Chief Energy Officer of Clean Tech. The line of business is energy development, and his sponsors are Ms. Ruth Owen and attorney Pedro Maniego Jr. Next, we have Ambassador Dato Abdul Malik Melvin Castellino, the Malaysian ambassador to the Philippines. Line of business is diplomatic service, and the sponsors are attorney Benedicta Du Baladad and Secretary Rogelio Singson. Seventh, we have Dr. Carl Kendrick Chua. He's an independent director of BPI. Line of business is banking, and his sponsors are Attorney Benedicta Du Baladad and Secretary Carlos G. Dominguez III. Eighth, we have Marie Antoinette Annette H. De Ocampo, the Head of Corporate Affairs and Communications of Maynilad Water Services, Inc. Line of business utilities. Sponsors Mr. Ramoncito Fernandez and Secretary Rogelio Singson. Ninth, we have Mr. Joseph Yossi Freezer, General Manager of Fibercom Telecom Philippines, Inc. Line of business is telecommunications and IT supply and services. Sponsors are Ms. Marian Hontiveros and Ms. Raquel Kagurangan. 10th, we have Ms. Christine Alvarez Go, General Manager for Nutrition in Southeast Asia of Unilever. Line of business is the manufacture and distribution of consumer goods. The sponsors are Attorney Benedicta Du Baladad and Ms. Margot Torres. 11th, we have Mr. Joseph Joe Gross, the CEO and President of Allianz PNB Life Philippines. Line of business is life insurance. The sponsors are Mr. Alexander Grenz and Secretary Rogelio Singson. 12th, we have Ms. Rowena Wina Kapunan, the Interim CEO, Head of Conduct of Financial Crime and Compliance, and Country Chief Risk Officer of Standard Chartered Bank. Line of business is banking. Sponsors are Ms. Lynette Ortiz and Secretary Rogelio Singson. 13th, we have Mr. Emmanuel Ramon Lorenzana, the SVP and Chief Transformation Officer, Customer Officer of PLDT Smart. The line of business is telecommunications. The sponsors are Mr. Michael Sherwin Makatangay and Ms. Jane F. Lobos. 14th, we have Professor Arup Maiti, Adjunct Faculty, Asian Institute of Management. Line of business is education, and the sponsors are Professor Paulo Antonio Azurin and Mr. Aldi Garcia. 15th, we have Annalisa Nava, co-founder and CEO of One Export. Line of business is one-stop cross-border trade services. Sponsors are Mr. Michael Sherwin Makatangay and Ms. Jane F. Lobos. 16th, we have Attorney Dennis Quintero, the Head of Energy, Mining, and Infrastructure Group of Kisumbing Torres. Line of business is legal services, and the sponsors are Dr. Corazon Claudio and Secretary Rogelio Singson. 17th, we have Engineer Isauro San Pedro Jr., President and CEO of BMERC Group of Companies. The line of business is BPO, and the sponsors are Dr. Corazon Claudio and Mr. Ramoncito Fernandez. 18th, we have Dr. Beaver Tamesis, the President and CEO of Asian Hospital and Medical Center. The line of business is hospital management, and the sponsors are Ms. Alma Rita Jimenez and Secretary Rogelio Singson. 19th, we have Mr. Robert William Tan, the President of AccuData Analytical Labs Corporation. Line of business is the Analytical Testing Laboratory. The sponsors are Dr. Shelito Habito and Secretary Rogelio Singson. 20, we have Mr. Franco Varona, Managing Partner of Foxmont Capital Partners. Line of business is Venture Capital Fund for Entrepreneurs. The sponsors are Attorney Alex Cabrera and Secretary Rogelio Singson. And last but not the least, 21st, we have Ambassador Constance C. Sin Yuan, the Singapore Ambassador to the Philippines. The line of business his diplomatic service. The sponsors are Attorney Benedicta Dubaladad and Secretary Rogelio Singson. So we have a long lineup today, just enough to barely fit the stage. And so at this point, I would like to call on the MAP President, Attorney Dick Dubaladad, to lead the induction of the new MAP members. Please all rise to add solemnity to the occasion.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly pledge that I will perform well and faithfully to the best of my ability my duties as a regular member in order to contribute to the achievement of the objectives of the Management Association of the Philippines. So help me God. Congratulations and welcome to MAP.
May I kindly request our speakers, distinguished speakers, to come by the stage so you could actually settle down over here. Donald, ha? Kaya, dapat paupuin na. Oo. Kasi magkakagulo eh. Paupuin na sila dapat. Oo. Kaya tinawag ko na. Yeah, kindly settle down so we can actually move on for the most awaited part of our program. Okay, again, can I kindly request the speakers to kindly join me on the stage so we can call on you one after another? All right. In line with the MAP policy and in the interest of time, we will dispense with the lengthy introduction of our distinguished panelists. Their profile will instead be flashed on the screen, as you will get to see it. I would like to remind our panelists that you are given 5 minutes for your opening statements or anything that will actually interest us. Again, I repeat, 5 minutes, please. I'd like to move on and call our first panelist speaker, Ambassador Dato Abdul Malik Melvin Castellino of Malaysia. Ambassador Melvin, would you like to join us here?
Attorney Dick Dubalada, President of the Management Association of Philippines, Dr. Donald Lim, Governor in Charge, Management Association of the Philippines Trade Investment Committee, Mr. Charles P. Willisno, the Chairperson of the Management Association of Philippines, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, fellow colleagues of the ASEAN nation, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Selamat tengah hari, good afternoon, and magandang hapon. First and foremost, allow me to express my deepest appreciation to the Management Association of Philippines for inviting me today. I'm really honored to be inducted as a member of MAP, and I must say that to be in the presence of such distinguished people really is a privilege. And I must also congratulate MAP for its wonderful work it has been carrying on and done. I'm so impressed with the number of activities you have run. And my sincere congratulations on the advocacy that you're doing on malnutrition and, of course, child stunting. And if there's any way with Malaysia can help, we're very happy to be a part of this important work. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to go straight into the points to be raised. As we know, the ASEAN, or the ASEAN Association of Southeast Asian Nations, is among the fastest growing region in the world. According to the ADB, economic growth in the Southeast Asian nations reached 5.5% in 2022. And for the next 5 years, ASEAN is estimated to grow by almost 4.9%. By 2030, the region, which has a total estimated population of 690 million in 2023, is expected to contribute almost 60% of the global growth. 60% of the global growth. Now, zooming into Malaysia, which is located in the heart of the ASEAN region, Malaysia is a country of more than 32 million population in a land size of 330,000 square kilometers. Malaysia is, of course, a warm and friendly business nation with prime geographical location and located within the busy shipping routes of Asia. In terms of economy, the Malaysian GDP growth grew 8.7% in 2022 and is one of the highest of its achievement. The growth, of course, was due to the upliftment of the COVID-19 containment measures, resilient growth in exports, revival of the tourism activity, and continued policy support. For 2023, the Central Bank of Malaysia has maintained its forecast for Malaysian GDP this year at 4.4 to 5%. In 2022, Malaysia, of course, was ranked among the top trading nations of the world, while for exports and imports, Malaysia is ranked 25th. To date, Malaysia has signed and implemented more than 16 FTAs, 7 bilateral FTAs, and 9 regional FTAs. And notably in 2022, Malaysia implemented the 2 mega FTAs, namely the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, and the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement of Trans-Pacific Partnership, which I'm happy to say Philippines is also a member. In 2022, Malaysian trade continued to demonstrate a remarkable performance and registered another record-breaking achievement with high trade export, imports, and trade surpluses soaring to a new high. Malaysia trade increased by 20.3% to USD 6.46.9 billion, while exports from Malaysia to the whole of the world increased by almost 17.7% to USD 352.31 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, with Philippines in 2022, total trade increased by 27.3% to USD 9.42 billion and to USD 7.85 billion. Malaysia exports to Philippines in 2022 also increased by almost 24.6% to USD 6.41 billion compared to USD 5.46 billion in the same period in 2021. The 5 most top exports were, of course, electrical and electronic products, petroleum products, palm oil and palm oil-based agricultural products, chemical and chemical products, and processed food. Malaysia, of course, a lot to offer in terms of potential products and services. And now, among the potential areas which I would like to perhaps highlight upon are these following. Infrastructure projects, namely focusing on sectors such as construction and building materials, as well as furniture products. Number 2, digitalization, focusing on sectors such as ICT products and services, including e-commerce, payment and retail solution, e-government system, business process outsourcing BPO, support service, as well as application for the banking sector. The third sector is, of course, the green technology, focusing on renewable energy, including solar power generation and hydropower plant. Agricultural technology, focusing on palm oil and palm oil-based products. And last but not least, the halal products and services, focusing on food and beverage products, halal supply chain, Islamic banking, as well as halal training and capacity building services. As we all know, the RCEP, or the Regional Economic Partnership, is designed to broaden ASEAN's engagement with Australia, China, Japan, Korea, and New Zealand. Of course, for Malaysia and many countries in ASEAN, including Philippines, being a part of RCEP will provide greater market access to a third of the world population. With the participation of the 10 member ASEAN countries represented here, of course, we have a few more not being able to attend, and I hope the next series, the other 5 members may be able to also present to you what they have also, their advantages are. In terms of global standing, of course, just to highlight a few points, Malaysia is ranked among the top country in emerging Southeast Asia for foreign investment and most potential to attract foreign investors in Southeast Asia. That, of course, includes, of course, the other ASEAN nations present on the stage. Based on World Competitive Yearbook of 2023, Malaysia is ranked second as the most competitive country in ASEAN and ranked 25th of the most competitive countries in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, now in terms of you wanting to start businesses in Malaysia, of course, if you look at the policies of the Malaysian government in trying to attract investments, our policies continue to be pro-business, prudent and pragmatic to create an environment that is safe, secure, and scalable for long-term success of your businesses. This includes almost 100% equity ownership in the manufacturing and selected services sector, competitive investment incentives and IP protection laws that conform with international standards. And under the Ministry of International Trade Industry, Malaysia also provides competitive investment incentive through pioneer status, investment tax allowances, reinvestment allowance, as well as customized packages, investment opportunities. My team is here, of course, and we are ready to continue to talk to you in the coming months and weeks in terms of how we can further collaborate. We are open for business. So we would like to, of course, invite all of you to be a part of this environment. The Malaysian manufacturing sector continues to play an vital role in the country's economic transformation. It contributes to the nation's export revenue and job creation and ensures country's growth despite the current economic uncertainties. Our priority will remain on producing high value-added, diverse and complex products, particularly in the sectors such as electronics, chemical and advanced material machinery and metal technology, life sciences and medical technology, transportation technology and food technology, among others. In Malaysia, we are also committed to embracing the fourth IR, or Industrial Revolution, to ensure that the manufacturing sector continues to be competitive in terms of productivity, innovation, and talent, while creating jobs for sustained growth. Another area of opportunity that, for investment in Malaysia include the services sector. Malaysia's services sector account for almost over half of the GDP, making this sector one of the major contributors to the country's economic growth. The targeted investment under the services, including subsectors such as business services, green technology, oil and gas, healthcare, hospitality, logistics, and marine technology, among others. As we move towards becoming a more developed nation, greater emphasis is also placed on the development of the services sector to serve as a main engine growth to propel and sustain the economy. SMEs, which is another area which is important for Malaysia, and this, I think, is a possible interest for Philippines. This sector, of course, is the backbone of Malaysian economy, and this is in line, of course, by the drive by the Philippine government to enhance micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises, or SME collaboration. With the advent of digitalization, this has become an enabling factor for future growth, particularly given the demographics of both nations. I know I have 5 minutes only, so I have a lot more to deliver, but I guess what I would like to say that, we are open for business. We are known as one of the key destinations of export in Malaysia. One of the areas we are looking at now is, of course, the halal products and halal certified services. And to promote the growth of halal, the government of Malaysia recently launched the Halal Industry Master Plan 2030, which we are hoping to work with Philippines to further develop. The halal industry is one of the most fastest developing industries in the world, with close to 3.4 trillion possibilities. So, I think it's right time that the focus of some of the industries in Philippines can be geared towards the halal, and we are working with some of the key stakeholders in this arena. Of course, I have my Malaysian Trade and Development Corporation, MATRADE. They are here to support and meet you if you require. And one last thing I'd like to add on is we'll be organizing the Malaysian International Halal Showcase, MIHAS, from 12 to 15 September. And it'll be one of the largest halal showcase in the world. And we would like to invite, of course, the members who are here to participate in this showcase. There will be among 13 clusters that will be highlighted. These, among others, include food and beverage, modest fashion, lifestyle, pharmaceuticals, medical, Muslim-friendly hospitality and tourism, as well as Islamic finance and fintech, which is very important, I believe. So I'd like to end here. I'm open for discussions later. I don't want to go on. I know there's a lot of people are waiting to speak, but we're open for business. ASEAN is open for business. I hope to create a stronger link with MAP, and of course, I'm always ready to support and help you in any way we can. So thank you very much for listening to me, and maraming salamat po. Thank you.
Terima kasih, Ambassador Castellino. I just wanted to remind everybody at this point in time to kindly tone down your voices. We hear a lot of noise and we cannot really listen properly to the presenter, which I think is very substantial for us to really listen to. You practically really encourage us to have this session, so let's give the due respect that is actually necessary for this particular session. May I now call on our second panelist, Ambassador Constancy C. of Singapore. Ambassador?
Good afternoon. My name is Constance. I'm the Singapore ambassador. I have arrived about 3 weeks ago. So thank you very much. I want to thank the leadership of MAP for inducting me today as a new member, and I'm very happy to be here meeting everyone. Thank you. I will keep my remarks short. Right. The topic is the top 5 business opportunities in Singapore. I thought long and hard about this. And I thought the first point I should make is that Singapore is a diversified economy. There are many exciting things happening across all industries, whether it is in ICT, digital businesses, logistics and supply chain management, precision engineering, clean energy, sustainability, biotech, or agri-tech. A lot more than 5 areas. So the broader point I want to make is that you know us best as a global hub for business. We're a gateway to the region for the top MNCs and fast-growing startups. Singapore is a key platform for companies that are looking for a multiple market strategy in the region. We have a strong base of headquarters with global or regional mandate. Half of the Fortune 500 companies have Asia RHQs in Singapore. 80 of the world's top 100 tech companies operate in Singapore. So we are a good base for companies looking to tap Asia's growth potential. Setting up shop in Singapore signals your interest in multinational growth. My second point is that the reason why companies look to Singapore is also because we're a leading innovation center in Asia, with a vibrant ecosystem featuring R&D labs for many Fortune 500 companies. And we have many venture capital funds, incubators, and accelerators. Singapore accounts for 2/3 of the region's total venture capital funds, and more than half of the region's top 50 most funded startups. You will find in Singapore the Asia Pacific headquarters of several unicorns. We are also an advanced manufacturing hotspot because of the deep engineering and innovation capabilities in Singapore. Singapore is in fact the 5th largest global exporter of high-tech goods. There are many leading firms across industrial sectors like Micron, Infineon, Soitec, Global Foundries that have set up next-generation manufacturing facilities in Singapore. Essentially, the point I want to make is that in Singapore, you're going to find a culture of innovation, high performance, investment in upskilling and talent development, and significant government support that is often game-changing and innovation-friendly. Take, for example, recently we have launched a digital connectivity blueprint. We're going to improve the hard infrastructure, such as doubling down on the number of submarine cables, increasing nationwide network speeds up to 10 gigabits per second. We're also doing the soft infrastructure of improving digital utilities. This means your e-invoicing, e-payments, document, and cross-border verification. So I've spoken about Singapore so far, but really my next point is about ASEAN, ASEAN's growth potential. Singapore exists as a hub for businesses to the region, and especially in the Southeast Asian region. And you are here today also because you share the same confidence we have in Southeast Asia. We are a population of more than 660 million, of which 60% are below the age of 35. Philippines, your median age is 25. So you're going to have this huge demographic dividend that is driving your growth, and it will drive your growth for many years to come. So Southeast Asia's combined GDP is about $3 trillion, which makes this the 5th largest economy in the world, and this is growing steadily. And soon, the Asia region will account for more than half of global GDP and 40% of global consumption. So we're going to see this pivot to Asia. The prospects are good, but we need to position ourselves to seize the opportunities. How do we do this? We need to maintain our long-standing commitment to open and free trade. We keep our doors open to investors, ideas, and talent. ASEAN must also deepen our regional integration to tap on each other's strengths and to capture the opportunities before us. And on this note, we have a network of FTAs, such as the RCEP, recently entered into force here in the Philippines. This is the world's largest FTA, comprising 30% of global GDP and a third of the world's population. So this has entered into force, and it will deepen ASEAN's connectivity with major economies in Asia. So we've heard about the Asian decade for some time now. This is for our taking, but of course there are many storms ahead. Geopolitical tensions, fragmentation, some protectionism, and of course the longer-term threats such as climate change. And so all the more, I think it's important for us to work together. Singapore and the Philippines are natural partners. We are long-standing partners with excellent cooperation across all domains. We have noted the strong fiscal management here. We have noted the stellar economic performance in the past couple of years. So Singapore is currently the Philippines' top source of FDI and also one of your largest trading partner. We are the Philippines' largest trading partner in ASEAN. We are your fifth largest globally. Sixth largest globally, but we are your fifth largest export market. So plenty to do, and our companies are also encouraged by many of the structural reforms that we have seen, changes to the Retail Trade Liberalization Act, Foreign Investment Act, Public Service Act. Our companies are here, they have been invested, and they have continued to stay invested in the Philippines, and I think we have many opportunities to work together. So I have spoken for about 5 minutes. I just want to point out that if 10 more minutes, making 15 minutes is how long it takes to open and register a business in Singapore. Okay? So that is the ease of business that we're talking about. And all it takes is $1 of issued minimum capital. So ease of doing business helps a lot. And we are keen to invite more of you to Singapore. We're open for business, as Malaysian Ambassador had said, and we've always been open for business. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ambassador. I was just sharing with him that I'm actually a permanent resident of Singapore, and I just took in my pension fund 2 weeks ago. Thank you, Singapore. For our next speaker, may we now kindly call our third panelist, no other than our member, Ambassador Tul Traisorat of Thailand. Over to you, Ambassador.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for your invitation and for organizing this event. I'd like to congratulate MAP for your commendable role in tackling the malnutrition and the education in the Philippines. I'd like to congratulate Ambassador Malik for your membership at this prestigious MAP as well. The event today actually is very timely because it's about opportunities in ASEAN. I think it's hardly held here in the Philippines. Normally here we would focus on opportunities from the EU, from the US, from Japan, from somewhere else, but not among ASEAN itself. That's why I think the topic is very timely, and it's very important that we, as ASEAN members, Philippines and our ASEAN members, should consider and promote intra-ASEAN trade and investment as well. Besides the investment from beyond, but we promote the intra-ASEAN as well. The actually intra-ASEAN trade is number one with Thailand. Thailand and ASEAN trade is number one among those trade with all countries. And the center of gravity, as we all know, is now in ASEAN. The community of more than 600,000 million population, the free movement of goods, services, and skilled labor, and freer flow of capital, as we all aware of. 99.65% of the tariff lines of goods have been eliminated. So it's a freer flows of capital and freer flow of services among ASEAN. The challenge now we are dealing with is how to get rid of the NBT, non-tariff barrier, not NTB, and technical barrier to trade. So with the ASEAN community since 2015, plus the RCEP since 2022, which Philippines has acceded and entered into force with the Philippines in June this year. So with the RCEP, as we all know, 1/3 of the world population, 1/3 of the world GDP, half of the world international reserve, and over a quarter of global trade in goods and services, and 31% of global FDI inflows. So it's a significant market to be reckoned with the ASEAN at the center of the RCEP. So Thailand at the center of the mainland ASEAN is a place for investment as well. We have the EEC, Eastern Economic Corridor area, that we promote the investment in high technology, in robotics, AI, the agriculture technology, high technology with the tax exemption up to 15 years. The right to own land as well as the duty-free right, and the long stay visa up to 10 years as well. So this kind of thing is incentive for those investing in this area. The area in the east of Thailand, in the provinces of Rayong, Chantaburi, and Cheongsa, which is a beach area close to Pattaya, a very nice area. Pattaya now is a family destination with a theme park, with a water park, with everything, yacht club, helicopter, and everything. So investment in that area with international school, international spa and wellness, international hotels, 1,000 of international hotels around the area, international hospitals. So the whole family is happy. Wife is happy doing shopping, kids happy going to school, golfer very happy, 100 of golf courses around there. So this is the area that we promote. The business model could be invest in that area with the EEC. In the EEC, we have the EEC office, which is one-stop service, where you consult with them and they can advise on the type of business, the land, which plot of land would be suitable, which any local partner require. So could be invest in that area, consulting with the EEC office, and we are ready to connect you with the EEC office. Another thing is to partner with a local partner is another option, or you buy share, invest in a Thai company. So if invest in Thai company, you have the privilege and competitive advantage of the region, the Mekong region. Many of Thai company and conglomerates have actually invested in the Mekong region as well. So invested in a Thai company or partnering with a Thai company, meaning the investment not only in Thailand, but in the Mekong region covering Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Myanmar as well. So that's the business model that you would consider. And we'd like to share as well that we are proud that the Thai conglomerates have been investing here in the Philippines a lot in the value of tens of thousands of million US dollars. The CP Group invested in the shrimp farm, fish farm, chicken farm, and pig farm, providing also chicken to Jollibees. Yeah, so Jollibee chicken from CP Group. The SCG has invested in the Mariwasa and UPPC and yielding materials all around, outlets all around the country. ECO has invested in the two power plant station in Quezon, 500 megawatt each. PTT having 188 petrol stations all around the country, and Sky Tower building telecommunication, expanding the quality of the internet all around the country as well. Dusit Thani, as you all know, expanding all around the country, the hotel, and Bangkok Bank as well. This is one of the examples, some of the examples that I'd like to raise. So look forward to working closely with the business here and with MAP as well. So we are connecting B2B as well as the business organization with business organization. And we are like to thank for a very good collaboration of the MAP, of President Dubaladat. We are working closely to have the strong relation with the management association and with the members as well for the more flourishing and prosperous ASEAN. As I like to quote in the ASEAN anthem, we dare to dream, we care to share is the way of ASEAN. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Kapkun ka. Okay. We would like to call on the fourth panelist, Mr. Pung Van Tan, Head of Trade Office of Vietnam. Can we cue the presentation of Consul Tan? By the way, Mr. Pung Van Tan is interested to become a member of MAP. So please make sure that he receives the application papers. Consul, over to you.
Vietnam, the third largest economy in Southeast Asia, with a GDP of over 350 billion US dollars. In 2020, UNCTAD listed Vietnam as one of the world's top 20 countries in terms of foreign investment attraction.
Với cương vị Chủ tịch Quốc hội,
The country, with its success story in developing and attracting foreign investment over the past 30 years, is transforming into an attractive and safe destination, a dynamic market with great potential and investors' success guaranteed. Enormous potential. Vietnam has a strategic geographical position in the center of Southeast Asia, a dynamic development region of the world. Hanoi Capital City, or Ho Chi Minh City, the nation's economic hub, are only 1 to 5 hour flight from Bangkok, Singapore, Beijing, Seoul, Tokyo. Socio-political and macroeconomic stability are well maintained. The economy with nearly 100 million people has always grown at the rate of 6 to 7% in the past 2 decades. The Vietnamese consumption market has enormous potential. According to the World Bank, the middle class will increase from the current 15% to 50% of the population in 10 years. From Vietnam, investors are able to access the ASEAN market with more than 650 million people, as well as member markets by FTAs. Rising global status. Vietnam has strategic partnerships with 17 countries, including all major ones and 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. The country has well performed the role of ASEAN Chair, the non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council for the 2020-2021 term, and the 41st ASEAN Inter-Parliamentary Assembly President in 2020. Dynamic economic reform. In order to enhance its position in the global value and supply chains, Vietnam is actively improving its business environment and national competitiveness. As a result, for the past 5 years, Vietnam's business environment ranking, according to the World Bank, has increased by 20 places. The country's Global Competitiveness Index, according to the World Economic Forum, jumped 10 places. The country's e-government index, according to the UN's ranking in 2020, was 3 places higher than that in 2016. Innovation. Making good use of internal resources for rapid and sustainable development on the basis of science and technology, innovation and digital economy transformation is a cross-cutting point in the socio-economic development plan and strategy for the next 5 to 10 years. According to the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, Vietnam's Global Innovation Index ranks 44th in the world, up 15 places compared to 5 years ago. In terms of innovation index, Vietnam tops the list of 29 countries with the same income level and ranks 3rd in the ASEAN. The National Innovation Center was established to promote the business ecosystem development and attract large innovation companies to incubate new technologies in Vietnam for application in the business community. Infrastructure development. Vietnam is developing many large-scale transport and urban infrastructure projects, including Long Thanh International Airport near Ho Chi Minh City, which aims to become one of the new hubs for air transshipment in the region. Tremendous efforts are being made on the expressway system with the expectation that by 2025, the East-North-South Expressway with a total length of 1,814 kilometers will be completed, and in the next 10 years, the country will have 5,000 kilometers of expressway. Abundant workforce and golden population, being the world's 15th most populous and ranks 3rd in Southeast Asia for the population, with working age population of over 60%. Vietnam is currently in the golden population period, and this will last for at least another decade. To develop its workforce, Vietnam is strongly reforming the education sector, including school education, university, and vocational training. The recent amended labor code by the National Assembly will surely increase the competitiveness of the labor market. Deeper integration. Vietnam is among the leading countries in the Asia-Pacific, as the country has joined free trade agreements with 60 economies in all leading economic and political centers, including 15 G20 members. No country has such a large export market with low and comparative tax rates like Vietnam. Besides the market of the ASEAN community, with more than 650 million people, Vietnam has joined 15 free trade agreements, including new generation ones such as the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, CPTPP, the Free Trade Agreement between Vietnam and the European Union, EVFTA, and the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, between ASEAN and 6 partners. Safe destination. Vietnam is one of the few with positive growth. In 2021, the country's GDP stood at 2.58%, and the country is targeting a growth of 6 to 6.5% in 2022. Also in 2021, the trade volume topped a record level of $668.5 billion, which was a 26.5% increase. In 2021, the total registered capital of foreign investors exceeded $38.8 billion, 25.2% higher than the previous year, showing investors' trust toward the country's investment prospects. Ready for the next global investment wave. Over the years, Vietnam has taken concrete actions to get well prepared in terms of infrastructure, land fund, skilled labor resource development, power projects, administrative reform, so as to catch up with shifting waves of investment worldwide. Offering special incentives to attract large-scale projects, applying modern technology to generate added value, and boosting linkages with global value chains. Forming a special working group to help businesses overcome obstacles and speed up investment projects. Fully unleashing the potentials and advantages along with implementing strong reform, Vietnam is definitely the most attractive destination with so many opportunities for investors around the world. Here is the opportunity we give you to stay ahead of the global trend and shaping a prosperous and sustainable future. Welcome to Vietnam, a safe and attractive destination where you find the key to success.
Okay, we'll give Mr. Tan here just 1 minute because he consumed his 5 minutes already. Over to you.
Thank you, organizer. Actually, I'm not the people to invited to come here today, but invited people is our ambassador. But our ambassador said you are the right person to come because the reason is that I'm the person assigned by Vietnam government here to have business community between Vietnam and Philippines. I am the person who finding the Vietnamese partner for you and also finding the Filipino partner for Vietnamese enterprises. So please come to me whenever you have any interested in Vietnam product, Vietnam service, and anything from Vietnam. And also I want to find something to bring back to Vietnam. It's my duty. So it's, thank you very much for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tan. We have another recruit from Indonesia, the next speaker. He is also interested to become a member of MAP. So Secretariat, please take note of that. May we now call Minister Mudzakir, Head of Economic Affairs of Indonesia. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to thank MAP and the President, Ms. Benedicta Baladat, for the invitation to these important occasions. I would like also to pass the best regard from my ambassador and also his apology because due to the prior engagement, he cannot join with you today. And also would like to congratulate Ambassador of Malaysia and Singapore as the new member of the MAP. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share with you opportunities of business in Indonesia in 3 clusters, namely the Nusantara National Capital Authority, the development of our new capital, and the 2 special economic zone in Sanur and Kura-Kura, Bali. Based on our regulation of the government on business permit, in the new capital, we have a lot of opportunities of business, like in maritime affairs and fisheries, agriculture, environment and forestry, energy and mineral resources, industry, trading, public works and public housing, transportation, and etc. So there are many business opportunities in development of our new capitals. For these opportunities, we our government gave special treatment and incentives, for example, in the land rights for business actors. The granting of land rights is subject to a land and building rights acquisition. For example, now the agricultural rights are given for 95 years, the building right for 80 years, and usufructuary rights for 80 years also. Ease of business permission and investment facility is done through the one single submission system. And regarding the tax incentive and facilities on the land ownerships, like I have mentioned before, the land usage right is for 95 years. And also there's an exception of compensation fee from business owner or investors to expatriate worker to be borne by the Indonesian government. And the National Capital Authority is to support provision of key housing requirement for the investor and their employers. There are also tax holidays and VAT for the luxury goods tax and super deduction tax and a special treatment in custom. Investing in our new capital follow 8 steps of process. You can see in the presentation because due to the time limits. But mainly the process is streamlined to give you a better service. And now as report to you the development of countries that are interested to invest in our new capital, there are considerable letter of intent from potential investors have been received, amounting to 200 LOIs per mid-June this year. There are LOIs on housing, utilities, waste management, education, medical, energy, connectivity, and other infrastructure. And there are 25 LOIs from Japan, 24 from Singapore, 16 from Malaysia, 15 from China, and 6 from Korea. And this is the next is the picture of the non-disclosed agreement signing with the State Power Investment Corporation in Singapore, and with Kuwait companies, and also with Japan. And also, as I mentioned before, regarding the opportunities in our business opportunities in our special economic zone, we also have the Sanur Special Economic Zone that we will have an integrated end-to-end healthcare facility where each hospital and clinics will have its own unique specialist, creating a world-class healthcare ecosystem that we need the investment to build, like convention center, economic botanical garden, international hospital, etc. The next slide, please. And also in special economic zone in Kura-Kura, Bali. Why? Because Bali is blessed with rich historical, cultural, and artistic traditions. So a lot of scenery for tourism, like Mount Batur, Mount Agung, and Mount Abang. And in these special economic zones, our government also offer fiscal incentives, tax holidays, and tax allowance, and other incentives. The investment in these special economic zones are namely the health and wellness hub, the marina, the hospitality, residences and villas, knowledge, innovation and technology park, mixed-use developments, and food and beverage. And also I would like to inform regarding our big event, in the coming event, that will be held in the few days ahead in July 26 to 27, which is the International Tourism Investment Forum. The main activities will be, there will be a conference, exhibitions, V2B meeting, ASEAN tourism workshop, and site visit. And in the registration desk in the front, we provide a QR code for all the material that I presented here, and also for the registration. So I think that is our presentations. I hope that we can work together. And also, if you need any further informations regarding the business opportunities in Indonesia, we can contact us. And also here, I come with my colleague, the Trade Attaché, Mr. Martin Hutabarat. Yes, Pak Martin, you given time for 1 minute because we have also a big event in the Trade Expo Indonesia. So please, Pak Martin.
Okay, I will allow that, but please come over. There are a few more minutes that we're going to engage for a Q&A session, so please prepare your questions. I know all of these questions will not be answered during this session. Most of them have actually informed me that they wanted to actually have one-on-one sessions specific for their companies with the Trade and Investment Committee. So we are going to facilitate that as well. So allowing the 1 minute engagement, please proceed. So while waiting for that, I would like already to call on my co-moderator for this panel discussion and Q&A. Please welcome the Governor in charge of MAP Trade and Investments Committee and COO of Dito CME Holdings, Dr. Donald Lim. Donald, tulungan mo na ako dito. We'll just wait for the Indonesian Trade Minister. Are you going to present anything? Just a video, just a quick one? Okay, we'll allow. Please proceed. I think there are 2 microphones over here. There's one over there and there. So please get ready so we can actually cut the time to allow the Q&As to still happen. Is the video ready? Okay, if it's not ready, I will have to jump in with the Q&A already because we cannot hold on to that video. And we can play it right after.
Yeah, we
after
can
the
play it
Q&A.
after everyone has
Okay,
done with
Donald,
the
why don't
Q&A.
I turn this thing over to you and
Thank you.
kick for the Q&A.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. So, as everyone knows the saying that no man is an island, we also believe that in every country and nation state, especially in this age of globalization, we believe that no country can thrive alone without the help of one another. And we realize that today, in this age of globalization, that we live in this global village called ASEAN. And therefore, we know that for us to thrive, we have to support one another. So my question is to each of the representatives, very quickly. I know you expounded a lot on the benefits working with your different countries. But what do you think is the single one government incentive or policy that you have to encourage foreign investments in your country versus any other country for that matter, right? So if you're talking, this is a trade forum, we have businesses people here, we have trade presidents here. What do you think is one single business policy that you have that would generate really interest investing in your country? Yeah, Mr. Butsakir, go ahead.
Thank you. I think, first of all, I would like to respond about the importance of having collaboration and working together. I really agree to that notions, and Indonesia is also committed to cooperation in the ASEAN and also other multilateral organizations in economic affairs. And for Indonesia to respond about the incentives, yes, we are committed to always increase our ease of doing business. Now Indonesia is implementing the online single submissions to have a license and permits to have business and investment in Indonesia from foreign countries, and also other incentives like tax incentive and tax allowance for certain sectors. And now we also, our approach to what we call the negative list of investment are changed into positive list of investments, which is all are open except it's regulated as not open. So it's now much less restrictive in Indonesia. So I think that I can respond to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll only request 3 words. What are the incentives that really matters for them right now?
Okay.
I don't think we can elaborate. We have time to
Go
elaborate
ahead.
on that.
Yeah. Ambassador Tal?
So I think Thailand,
Yes.
Thai
Thailand.
food, Thai people.
Okay.
3 words.
Very clear.
Yes, it attracts the investment, and I think that's the charm of
Thai food, Thai people,
Thai people and the country
and the country.
of natural
Wow,
beauty.
well said. Thank you.
Thank you.
For Singapore, I think our biggest asset would be political stability, predictability, rule of law, and of course, a talent pool, global and regional
Talent pool.
talent pool.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Wow.
Sorry, thank you. Good question. I actually was putting my thinking caps on. But I think we all share almost similar incentives in terms of, the policies that each government or each country gives for investors. I mean, it varies from country to country, but I think in the end of the day, all of us have comparative advantage. But I think for Malaysia, when I think about it, what makes me want to invest in Malaysia is a one-stop center. You come to Malaysia, you go to one of these one-stop centers, you open a business within a day. And I think that's the ease of doing business. I think
One-stop
every
center.
country, ease of doing business. I think Philippines trying to do it, and I know there's a lot of being work done. I think you are doing very well. So congratulations, and
Thank you.
do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Attorney Ambassador Melvin.
Thank you. From the Vietnam side, I think that the same with maybe should be the same with Philippines. The most important thing it should be the legal environment, because in 1999 when Vietnam we opened the door and we want to attract more foreign investment. The first thing we think about and we have to do is the law. We enact the investment law, and that law to make sure that every investment capital to put in Vietnam to be protected. That's the most important thing.
Investment law. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Wow.
I will dispense, Donald, on my questions.
We'll,
I think we
we'll
need
throw
to take
the
questions from the
Q&A.
floor.
I think Poch has a question.
Yep. Botch, go
Botch.
ahead.
Yes. The ASEAN has to draw attention for global investors to locate in the region and not only in one country, so that we present a stronger unified voice against the big players, namely China, India, the US, and of course Europe. What is one single view from your point of view of a country that will unite ASEAN for that common understanding of its role in global trade and investment?
Single thing that will
What is
unite
the single
ASEAN.
thing that would unite ASEAN? That single thing that you think will unite ASEAN? As you see, we've seen so many blocks already, right, economic. So we constitute one single block, but we represent different countries and cultures. What do you think is that single thing that would unite all of us?
I think at the strategic level, our leaders have to has a common understanding on several issues, and I think on the technical levels, ASEAN countries, I think need to try to have harmonizations and standardizations on industries, so we can have interoperability of system, and also we can give a same treatment among ASEAN countries.
Standardization. Yeah, thank you.
And I think the key in ASEAN is harmony in diversity.
Harmony in diversity.
In diversity. So in investment in a ASEAN country would be for the market of more than 600 million population and 1.3 trillion US dollars. And it's in the hub and the center of ASEP, 1/3 of the world population. So beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you like Thailand, invest in Thailand. If you like Singapore, invest in Singapore, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia alike. So, but for the benefit of ASEAN. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Southeast Asia is a big and growing market. There's a big growing middle class, more than 660 million people, very young population. And I think what will really unite us is a political vision. There's an emphasis on ASEAN centrality and unity. Our leaders see the advantages of sticking together. You know, we are a region that is no stranger to political contestation. We don't want to get into that again. We want peace and harmony in this region, and the ASEAN leaders are united in that. Sometimes there are difficult issues, but we are willing to have dialogue and to work it out. There's a lot of commitment to our long-term cooperation together, and I think that is what gives us strength as a region, that unity of purpose.
Comes from political will.
Again, good question. I've been involved in ASEAN for many, many years. And I've seen up and downs. I think what really would define ASEAN being together would be the community. We need to develop this ASEAN community, and this is what's missing with a lot of times, because of course we have different interests, different approaches, and sometimes, of course, there are forces which beyond our control, which of course are influencing our decisions within ASEAN. But I think what is important is that we have to realize we are one community. As EU is one community, we need to also be one community. We need to work together, be together. And that is something I think we need to further promote and realize. It's not easy, it's a process, it's a road that needs to be achieved, but we can do it. You know, another thing I'd like to add is, I mean, if you look at intra-ASEAN trade, it is growing, but not to the extent of our trade with the other, you know, the major nations. Why? But we are the fastest growing you know, region in the world, yet we are not trading among ourselves. We rely on external, which is important, I know, in the globalized world, but we need to have more emphasis within ASEAN. And today's event is an excellent example how this can be done. So thank you and congratulations.
I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure for this question, but for myself, I think that the ASEAN countries should do together in terms of education, because we have so many different between country and country, between Vietnam, Singapore, between Thailand, and different, you know, education. It leads to different culture, different people from different countries. So, because we are the one, we are the ASEAN. So, the first, I think, the most important, and we need to put more investment on is together working and helping each other to make all of the ASEAN country to be, I think, somehow the same level of education. Thank you.
Thank you.
Donald, we can take one more question, and it should not be compulsory for everybody to respond to it.
Okay, we
Just
have
for the interest of time.
Michael Sherwin is on next. You can take the last question. Go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, Your Excellencies. Mike Makatangay here, founder and CEO of 1A Teams Consultants. My company is registered and based in Singapore. My question is, since all countries here are represented by the top countries in ASEAN, I just would like to ask for any update regarding the crisis that is happening in Myanmar, especially on the political, especially on the trade relations, because as ASEAN family, no, we really have to take care of all our countries. So I just would like to ask any update and what's the position of the other ASEAN country members. Thank you.
Myanmar.
Yeah, Myanmar. Any comment on what's going on in Myanmar? Ambassador first, the closest to Myanmar.
Okay, I will attempt this question. Myanmar remains a member of ASEAN and a valued member, but it is going through a difficult time. Our position has been consistent and firm that this is an issue that the Myanmar people will need to work out. All the stakeholders within Myanmar will have to be engaged. It is a difficult issue to resolve, and it may take a while. But in terms of as a group, as ASEAN, we are committed to support the efforts to bring peace to the country.
Just my thoughts on this. The ASEAN foreign ministers are meeting this week on this very important issue also. I agree the situation is difficult, but however, I still believe that Myanmar remains an integral part of ASEAN. And I think the roadmap that the ASEAN countries have laid out is a roadmap which is achievable. Of course, there has to be the buy-in by the Myanmarese government, and I think this is what we are trying to work with. The door is still open for negotiation discussions. ASEAN is very resilient. It's a very patient organization. The same matter cropped up many, many years ago, and through continuous negotiation, discussions, Myanmar came back to the fore. I'm confident this will happen again. But time has to be given. I think the leaders will continue to press ahead in terms of implementing the roadmap. And I am confident that, in the coming months and years, this issue will be resolved. So let's look forward to that and let's work for the best. Thank you.
Ambassador Castellino, Ambassador Yuan, Ambassador Trisorat, Mr. Tan, Minister Mudzakir, and Donald, thanks to all of you for sharing your time and expertise with us today. Thank you everyone for joining us today. May we kindly call our MAP President, President Dick, to join us here for our official photo session with all of the ambassadors over here. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned. There's an elegant pen over here. Who owns this pen?